Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people, well, welcome back to the Season of Self-Love podcast. Today is Mindset Monday. I'm your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am so honored to be here with you on this journey. Well, this month we are embracing the theme of creativity and expression. We're rediscovering the joy that comes from expressions, who we are through writing, painting, dancing, cooking, singing, stuttering, whatever speaks to your soul. That is what we're doing this month. Last week we talked about us finding joy through creative outlets, right? And this week we are getting real about some things that affects us. And that's every single one of us at some point. And that's blockage, creative blockage. And we're going to talk about that. So, those moments where you're inspired, right? And it feel like all of a sudden everything gone, vanish, And when a page stays the same or it's blank, you want to brush it, you want to put some paint on it, you want to do something, and just the ideas are gone and you stuck. Well, yeah, I know I've been there, and I know, Dr. Will has been there too. And I know that when he come on, he going to help us to unpack it. He going to help us to unpack it. But as always, we got to take a quick break right before we bring Dr. Will up. It's your girl, Nyomi Banks, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
Hey, it's your girl, Nyomi Banks, and make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about everything from love, sex, relationship, cultural differences, and so much more. By bridging the gap between them all. And we even talk about spiritual uplifting. You need to stop by. Me and Dr. Mike, as well as the BTG group. We have some amazing guests that come through. You never know. Just make sure you tune in Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to xnaomi.com and tell them Nyomi sent you. All right, my beautiful people. Well, welcome back. Well, this is what I didn't do before we went to break, and I want to make sure that I do this right? So, who's here to help us unpack is our resident therapist and our Mindset Monday co-host, Dr. Will Washington. Dr. Will is here to guide us through a psychology of creative blocks and to help us learn on how to move through them and not just avoid them. Hey, Dr. Will.
It's good to see you. It's good to see you. I'm amped up. I don't know why, but my leg's shaking. I'm excited.
Mine over here too.
I feel the energy. I feel it. I'm there.
Right. So I'm excited for this because I know creativity, all of that is, as you said last week, that is your bag. And let's get into that bag. But before we do that, let's ground ourselves first, because we're gonna have to ground ourselves, at least help these legs from shaking.
Right. You ground twice.
All right, my beautiful people. So if you can just close your eyes for a moment and get comfortable as we ground ourselves before we get deeper into this topic, all right? Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose. And exhale gently through your mouth. Now I want you to visualize your creativity as it is flowing like a river. And as you breathe in, I want you to feel that river filling with energy, filling up with ideas, and filling up with inspiration. And as you exhale, I want you to let go anything that is blocking the flow. Let go of doubt. Let go of fear. Let go of perfectionism. Just let it all go. Let your breath guide you back to this present moment. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes. Hey, to my beautiful people. Well, if you're new here to the Season of Self-Love, this is something we do every day, Monday through Friday. Again, just to ground us before we get into the topic. So this month we're talking about creativity and expression. And this week is all about blockage. How can we remove that blockage? So Dr. Will, when someone says, I am creativity blocked, my creativity is blocked, what's really going on beneath the surface?
I love that you said this. So it can be a matter of four things. One, their planning is not organized. Let's just keep let's keep it grounded. I'll get more lifted. So your planning and your organization is just not right, right? So the feng shui of your life, or the environment, your space may not be conducive to your creativity. Two, you might be exhausted from the lifestyle that you might be working. You might be working too hard, working too much. You might be having issues with other people in your life. You know, sometimes those relationships can get in the way of the creative process when relationships are supposed to be a muse, right? Inspiration. Three, it could be a skill issue where you may be trying to do something that might be out of your natural skill frame. And so the learning process might be daunting to you. And then lastly, it could be the fact that you may not have created the vision of your creation yet. So for me, the song has already been created before I create it, right? And I have to trust the process of that. And so sometimes people have some trouble going in, right? When you're painting a picture, usually the painting's already created. You're just putting it on paper, right? So the manifestation to the actual hands or the mouth or whatever art form it may be, can be a blockage between those two things. So I would say those would be the identifiers for me.
You know, I thank you for that. I love that what you said, and I want to put an inner critic in there as well, because it is loud. You know, that's something I know for me that I had to go through, especially when I started off with podcasting, especially with the Season of Self-Love. Because when you go into these different spaces that you are unfamiliar with, and you might think like, all right, this is how I want to do it. And you there. But then when it's time to do it, you second guess yourself. And so now then those ideas are gone, they blocked, because you're no longer believing in that, or you're saying, I'm not enough, or is this isn't enough? You know what I mean? Yeah.
When you said that, it made me think about my past and how my blockages were typically because I didn't take enough time to be myself. And so I just appreciated you saying that, because that reminded me of my own growth and development.
Yeah. You know, when you have spent majority of your adult life in front of something, in front of a camera, in front of an image wise. And so the world sees you as something different, you know, and I'm just going to share this with you all now, is because that's a part of my blockage that happened with certain things in life, you know, period. Is because when we come from one chapter, or we ready to turn a page, sometimes we stuck because one, you want people to cherish who you were, but also you want them to honor who you've become. And doing that is a very I want to say tricky emotional place to
Mm.
be in. You know what I'm saying? Because in those moments of cherish, they could be good and bad. Let's be honest. And then going into that other part of to who you are, who you have become. For them, sometimes it's a blockage to see something different from you. But if we can take ourselves out of wanting to be something for others and for ourselves, then that can remove the blockage from it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
And
makes
and 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 the thing is that then the blockage is not gonna feel like a like you're lifting something, right? A blockage is gonna feel like an acceptance. It's gonna feel non-judgmental. It's gonna feel soft again. It's gonna feel open again. You're gonna be more flowing. You're gonna feel more free. You're gonna be more open to different things. You're gonna be more open to the possibility of different creative input. And I think a lot of us feel like we have to be a certain way, a certain thing
yeah,
at a time. If I'm not creating between 12 and 4, I'm never gonna make it. Like
yeah,
your might be between 9 and 11 a.m. while you at work.
yeah,
You have a pad and pencil for that,
yeah.
right? Or write down the ideas. Some of my best ideas, I was singing in the shower, and I'd be like, "Oh, I can't get out of the shower because I'm half sudded up." So I've been now. What I do is I put my recorder on in my phone, my phone on, and I always have my phone on. I always speak out loud different thoughts and theories, and then I'll sing songs and rhythms while I'm in the shower,
Hmm.
and then I'll go back and I'll listen to it when I get out of the shower to see what stuck with me.
Yeah,
Right, and I sit with that recording throughout the day.
yeah,
I'm also intentional about when
yeah,
to do it, and that's the shower is when I'm the most free. I can't answer nothing. I can't go do anything. No one's gonna bother me in the shower. No one's like, that's my time,
yeah,
you know. And so I sit with that throughout the day. So you have to find your own creative way of being creative throughout that actual block that you're experiencing.
yeah, yeah. But let me share this. Once I allow my blockage to just go, I don't even know what happened. I don't know. I don't know if it was a point where I just surrendered everything. And from then on, it's like whatever I do, from cleaning. Oh my God, when I tell you cleaning, I got my pen and just writing stuff and working out, like whatever that I'm doing, even when
Mhm.
I'm sitting at my altar, I'll have to, as I'm thinking, I'm like, write it down. It just flows for me. And it's so funny because my husband be like, hold on. Because if you somewhere quiet and you doing something, it's something, you got something going on,
You
girl.
are
You got
loud silent. You are loud silent. I remember last week when we were working on that email and we were chopping and choosing.
something.
Um, you were so loud, and it helped me focus. Your sound was so loud that it made me focus, and I got it chosen, emailed, sent it, put the bio up, put the picture in, and for Alex and all that, and it was just like that was it, and I was like, wow, that was productive. Just think if I was with you for actually like 4 or 5 hours and we were creating, we would. I was like, we would create 2 institutes. So I was just
For
thinking
real.
about that. I was just wow, it's
Yeah.
amazing. You're around those like minds.
Yeah. So let me tell you something, because I promise you, it's something that we've been talking about on the back end of it. I say if Dr. Britt was in this room with me, we definitely would have at least 3 or 4 years worth of events and tours
Just
going
done.
on.
Done.
Seriously.
Yes. 100%.
And let me tell you, so listeners, let me tell you something. We've talked, our connection is so strong right here. We ain't
Mhm.
been in the same room together
Nope.
physically.
I don't even know what you smell like. You might smell like lavender. I don't know. You might smell like lavender. I don't know what you smell like. That's crazy. Think about that.
Right. So when we meet up, we're gonna go live and I'm gonna say sniff.
Right. Is that hazelnut? Is that like...
But in all seriously,
Oh god.
in all seriously, when you truly, when you remove the blockage, at least
Mhm.
allow it to start to fade away, so many things
Yes.
would just come through and leave. And it's gonna scare you for a moment because you're gonna be
Uh-huh.
thinking like, hold on, wait, what's happening here?
And you don't stop. And you
Yeah,
don't stop. You just keep going.
yeah,
It's 3 o'clock and you still feel awake. Why?
Yeah.
Am I having a manic episode? What's going on? You're like, am I inspired? Or am I manic?
Yeah.
What's going on? I be thinking that sometimes. I'm like, what is this feeling? But then the next day, I'm so tired. I'm like, oh no, that was inspiration.
Yeah.
I was exhausted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that feels good. So let me ask you this. How can our listeners actively work through those blocks? Like, what are some strategies that they can try right away? Like, as soon as they get off of here from listeners, what can they go do?
Yeah. Ooh. So I call it the mountain method. So you draw a little mountain, right? So it's probably like a ground and a triangle, and then you on the mountaintop, you put the thing that you want to create.
Mhm.
What's the thing that you want to create? And then on the hill that's going up, right? You ask yourself one question. What do I need to do in the morning, the middle of the day, and before I go to sleep to get up this mountain?
Mm.
And what times are those things going to be completed? So the only thing that gives you reward in life is discipline. The only thing that gives you reward in life is discipline. Motivation keeps you going. Goals finish things. Objectives keep you aligned. But discipline gives you reward. And so if you can give yourself the morning, the middle of the day, and before you go to bed, do that every day, you'll get to that mountaintop. You will. And then once you get what you need, you also have to go back down. So what are you going to do in the morning, the middle, at the end of the day, as you're going down? Because once you create something, you're going to go to something else.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you keep the momentum of that top of that mountain? Because the job is not to stay on top of the mountain. If the whole goal is to stay on top of the mountain, then no one would ever come back down.
Mm.
So going up and going down are just as important as getting to the top of the mountain. And a lot of us forget that. We think once we get to the end of something, we're done. So give yourself 3 times to really focus on what that is. And so for me, like what I did was I put in the shower, I recorded my voice on things I thought, music, rhythm, right? When in the middle of the day during lunch, I would listen back to what I was doing. And then at night, I would write notes or I would create something based upon that to see what came through after that happened, right? There was a process to that allowed me to create. So that would be like my first way of like just figuring out what are your 3 things you're going to do to stay relevant. And the first thing might be bring a sketch pad.
Mm.
If you're an artist and you draw, you paint, bring a sketch pad. You do it in the morning, you do it in the middle of the day, and then you do it at night. You have an event that you want to program, work on the program in the beginning of the day, the middle of the day, and at night. It's going to change based upon the people you talk to.
Mm.
Also, find someone you can talk to. Every time I talk to you, Nyomi, what happens? All the ideas just start going.
That's
And I had to ground myself because I'm like, I had 6 ideas of a conversation. I can't do all that. But I had to remember that I'm like, oh, you're there to inspire me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. That's a person that brings inspiration to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Who's your person that inspires you? Have a conversation with them about what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
What do they say? How do they look at it? How do they vision it?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting what happens. So I would say those 2-3 ways are really like great starts.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so I'm about to go a little further, just a little bit.
Oh,
Just a little bit further. And it's a question that I'm going to ask you because I want to be, everybody is not, and I talked about this last month, white and black. Let's go into this gray. Let's go into this gray. And this gray area is that I don't know what I want. I don't know if I'm safe to go there. How do I go there?
Yeah.
Because maybe it's going to be so bad. My art going to be bad. My song going to be bad. My whatever I want to create is going to be bad.
I love those type of people. I love the I don't knowers. A lot of therapists, we don't like those because it's like, oh my gosh, so why'd you come to therapy if you don't know nothing, right? No, that's a good thing because it means that what you lack is ritual. You don't know why you're doing it. That means don't do it. They're like, well, I don't want to say I'm not doing it. Well, then why would you? Now I'm challenging you.
Yeah.
If you don't see yourself doing it, remove yourself from it. Well, well, then let's make a ritual. So I literally had a baker come in, a client that did this. They're a great business owner, amazing work. They don't feel like making cakes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, is it really about you not making cakes, or is it the fact that you kind of got tired of the routine? Why do you do this? Why do you want to do this? Oh, so I can make money. No, it's not, because you could have worked for Walmart and made cakes at Walmart and got a check,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what is it? And what they learned is that they liked making cakes for children's birthdays, and they got exhausted from making cakes for weddings because of how mean the people were. So that means that weren't it's not about who you were, it's about where you were
Mm-hmm.
in life. And so for me, it's learning what your ritual is so you can actually rebrand
Mm-hmm.
your purpose and what your creation is.
Yeah.
I get tired of playing music. I get tired. But then I listen to music again,
Mm-hmm.
or I create again, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is why I like doing this. I forgot.
Yeah.
So
I love that you said that, and this is wise because a lot of times we do get stuck in that one way, and sometimes we have to stop, take a step back, and
mhm.
find what that first of all, where that love come from what we did. So remember last week when we talked about
Mm,
the paintbrushes and the finger painting, and you
yeah.
said I have to go back. Sometimes I have to go back to where the
Mhm.
finger, and what that does for me, hearing that is that I have to go back to my foundation of why I love to do this.
Yeah.
So maybe I for your bakery. So maybe I still love to bake, but I just don't want to bake for a wedding anymore. I want to,
Mhm.
bake to where there's children and, I feel the love from that. I can see the smiles on the face. I can
Right.
see the fun and the joy, of that.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times that's where our blockage come from is because when going in, our intentions is most of the time our intention is not for us.
Yeah.
Most of the time our intentions is either
Yeah.
for the validation on the outside or what
Mhm.
we think other people might want from us. And
Yeah.
when you really understand what your intentions are, whether it's you want to be rich or famous or whatever it is, and wait, hold on, that ain't even what I want. That's what my mama want or what my dad. But what do I want?
Right.
Tap into that. They'd be like, oh, okay. Then I
Yeah.
promise you, and when I say this, those are going to flow. It's going to
Mhm.
flow. Now, the
Yes.
only thing is just
It
not as
always
they
flows.
flow, and you write them
Yes.
down. Then you figure out any, many, mighty, mo, which one gonna go
Mm.
first.
And I'm telling you, it's sad. Okay, I don't tell people this, but like, I really don't like going to live music events. I don't. I can't stand live music events because I play like 200 to 300 shows a year, like for real. And so like it's it's not because I don't like music. It's just because I want to focus on the sound. I want to focus on the performance. I want to be so into this. And then when I see everybody moving around and yelling and I'm like, it's a distraction. So I'm like, everybody's enjoying themselves. But for me, I'm like studying it. And so sometimes when I feel low about like, am I really want to do this? Do I really want to? I'll go to a live show and I'll watch because when I watch somebody on stage living their most authentic, most
Yeah,
realest, rawest expression, it inspires me. And it's like, well, where's my horn at? Why don't I have my horn? I
yeah,
go home and I start practicing because I'll listen to what they're playing. I'll be like, oh my God, like let me figure out how did she, and so a lot of times also it's about your environment. Are you in communities that are doing what you're doing? Are
yeah.
you actively engaged in those communities?
Mhm,
Like I'm a musician, but I also put other musicians on. I
mhm,
help them get the festivals. I help them rebrand their music. I help them get their producers. I help them because that's a part of my musical process.
mhm.
So it's not just doing your thing, it's also being a part of the community and contributing to the community as well.
Yeah,
It's so much larger than yourself.
yeah,
So much larger.
yeah. I love that. I love that you were able to take yourself out from there and go into a whole different aspect. So you're now able to enjoy it as
Mhm.
a spectator, as a fan of
Mhm.
something that
I
you
forgot I
love.
was a fan before I was a performer.
Yeah, yeah. So
Mhm.
once you go back to that space, that's about that intention in the beginning.
Mhm.
When you can go back in there and say, oh, okay, that's what that is. So now let me go back. Because remember, when I'm thinking this, I'm like, oh yeah, he see all this shit in behind. Because I'm like, how can you dare?
Mhm.
I've so far removed from performing
Mm-hmm.
that I would love to go. I love going to a concert.
Mm-hmm.
I got the t-shirts and all. Like,
I love those people that got t-shirts. I looked in the
I'm that
crowd like,
fan.
oh, you got a t-shirt? I'm like, thank you.
I am that fan. I will find a whole row of people and we will be doing dances coming down and think like I would act the true
I
blue
love that.
fool for whoever I'm going there and I'm loving and on it. So I can understand that point where when you behind stage, backstage, I've been there too, and I know how the angst and especially you feeling everybody energy too, because everybody nervous is I'm gonna miss this note, I'm gonna miss this dance step, I'm gonna miss
So
this, and an
nervous.
entourage.
Whew. Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah, so I like being on this side, just watching it all, and I sing in my shower, and I might make some beats later. Or I still make my beats later on, but I ain't going back out there no more.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. I'm just I know look, because I'm telling you, sometimes I'm just like, why am I doing this? And then when I watch them play and I see another trombone player or a trumpet in the back playing, I'm like, why am I not on stage? What am I doing wrong? Let me go back and practice. And I'm like, man, it's just we need that. We
Yeah.
need that. And that's another thing is when you're blocked like this, it just means that you're isolating yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're experiencing the feelings of isolation.
Yeah.
Your creativity was meant to be seen. And if you can't see yourself, then no one's gonna see you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is so true. That is so true. Thank you for just sharing that. So let's talk about the people who are afraid to share their creativity.
Mm.
You know, if I show somebody this, somebody gonna come steal it.
And God help the person that's scared of scared of seeing the pain.
Yeah.
There's never been one painting in the world that was more impressive than another painting.
Mm-hmm.
I wish. If that was the case, then we would never have so many genres of music, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like fear is okay. Well, no, I would give that back to you. Fear, right? What is fear in creativity?
I believe that fear in creativity is a part of perfection. They want it to be right, perfected, and embraced by others, but also someone taking what they thought it was the original authentically them. So they're not the original, or they're not you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because that's so 100% true.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a part of the creative process. If you don't have fear within your creative process, you're missing out on its development too.
Mm-hmm.
Because you put fear into that. Fear has also been a part of that. Your sadness is a part of your creative process. Your happiness, your heartbreak. Like think of how many great songs were made based upon heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We need these feelings to come alive.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the greatest creators can harness a feeling and turn it into a piece of art.
Yeah.
And some of the greatest artists will turn all their feelings into a way of life.
Yeah.
And that also can be chaotic. It can also be extremely disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's so important to heal during that process. Because if not, you can become your own you can self-sabotage, right? That can happen. You there?
All right.
So I think that self-sabotage is so invested because we don't realize that if you're not directional about your creative process, you can be self-sabotaging and you're using fear as a way to take away from you rather than put into your creative process. So it's just important to connect that.
Yeah, I love that. You know why I love that is because I look at fear as my best friend at times. I really do. I
That's an
look at
invitation.
fear and faith as my best friend at time. And I know people are gonna say, really not? Yes. Yes. Because within that fear, there is lessons to be learned or what that fear is.
Mm-hmm.
And when you were saying, I was like, even in that fear, that helps us to know what that that flavor is going to be for whatever we create. You understand that
Mm.
tone on what it's going to be for whatever we're gonna, create. Because we say that fear is a part of what protects us, right? But also we say that fear is the part of the unknown of what we can do. So it's a part of
Mm.
that little resilience that
Yeah.
we come upon and we able to do. So if we just bring all of that, I'm just like, Naomi, why you always trying to put some flavor in it? Because I am a flavorful goddess. That's why.
You're a seasoned goddess. Like you seasoned. You're a Lowry's goddess.
So, and that's the thing. And when we talk about, our core and our soul and all of these,
Mm-hmm.
and even in life, period, we are a bunch of different ingredients that come into one. Like you put a
Mm-hmm.
dash of something within me. Everybody influenced in life or things
Yes.
are ingredients, whether it's a dash or a teaspoon or whatever in each other lives. And so,
Mm.
especially when we talk about blockage, and we talk about releasing, this is what, for me, thinking I had to tap into every one of these relationships that I had. Well, actually, I'm gonna say I have to. I have the privilege and honor to be able to tap into each one of these relationships I have. And I am so in a place that I can take what's good out of that shit and put
Yes.
it into this to help me with that, to unrelease that blockers, because that blockers could be a story, an amazing
Yeah.
story that I can share on podcast or in a book or in a song or on a piece of paper from paint. You know what I'm saying? And when we think about
Mm.
those things, that could unblock it instead of thinking like, damn, I feel so bad right now. Use that.
See,
Use that.
but so then let's get to the accountability of this then.
Okay.
So to when it comes to overcoming creative blocks, if you are truly a creator in this process, you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility, and a lot of times, creators that don't have responsibility for themselves, they sabotage their own work, and it happens all the time. I see it all the time, and there's a responsibility that you must have for yourself, and that block is really probably you acknowledging that fear is knowing that you have to be responsible for the next step of your life,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to commit to that. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you don't do that, your creative flow will be blocked.
Mm-hmm.
It won't, it will not flourish. It won't flourish. And so I really think that we've become, we want the creativity, but we want the responsibility of what that
Mm-hmm.
vision will be seen. Because once you open your world to somebody else's, their world changes because of you.
Yeah.
We're fragments of each other.
Yes. I love that you said that. I do. I had this amazing conversation with my middle baby a few weeks ago. And, she's 22. She's soon to be 23, and she's trying to find herself. Full of
Mm,
energy, full of life. Um, and she wants to do so many things in life. But in doing those things, she don't want to take the accountability for some of the choices that she has to make
mhm,
those things come into reality for her. And so I
mhm,
love that you say that about when you start to tap into your creativity, understanding what that accountability is for you.
mhm,
Again, I remember starting these podcasts off and starting to be in a whole nother different light, actually tapping into my own self and my own authenticity. I knew by doing that and sharing it with the world that I am now responsible for the words that come out of my mouth. I'm
mm,
responsible for who listens to this other people's ears. I am. I'm responsible for the language that comes out of my mouth to make sure that there's somewhere understanding and understand what's the accountability behind it. Everybody gonna like it, but some people not. But then that is
mhm.
where we go into self-love. That's where we go into embracing who we are and be so comfortable in what we're saying and what we're speaking and knowing what our true intentions are, that will make us even that more accountable for. And I love the
Mm,
way when you say about blockage, because before anything, you got to make sure, is this something that I'm ready for?
Yeah. I was not planning on being this engrossed in music and sound and all this stuff. I was not planning on this. But every time I kept doing it, it kept opening up spaces for healing, spaces to change, spaces to grow. It challenged me in ways that I never thought. And the more creative I became, the more responsibility came to me, but also the reward of me seeing myself. I feel so confident about who I am, who I'm not, who I'm becoming. And the people that love me also see that too, And so it's very clear. It's very clear. And so I really hope people that are listening to this really do take their creative process seriously, because you are developing them into something that means something to you.
Yeah.
And it's going to mean something to somebody else if you care about it enough.
Yeah. Beautiful, Sarah. I love that. And I want to just remind you guys, don't allow the fear to just stop you in your tracks. No. So whatever that blockage is, and Dr. Will might not agree with me, I say go down that rabbit hole and find out what the hell is that blockage and why.
They should no, I don't agree. They should hire you, and then they should ask you the question and help you guide them so they can see the self-love that can come out of that fear. Because the truth is that what you're looking for is self-love and permission. And you're a great guide for that.
Why, thank you for that. That's a nice little shameless plug.
I'm being serious. You're like, plug.
I'm so sorry.
Oh my God.
Thank you for that. But you absolutely right. All right, my beautiful people. You know what? If you are looking for more support or navigating your creative blocks, don't forget to download the free copy of the Year Rebirth Workbook. Remember, this is the end of that first book, and it's great. Like I said, right now, I'm thinking about doing a hard copy for it. So I might be taking it down. I might be taking it down. I gotta sit at the altar with it and pray about it for a minute. Yeah, and pray about it for a minute. But this month, as always, that section is packed with exercises to help you reconnect with your creativity block through. And it's a lot of things that I add in from the different shows that I do, different exercises. But you know where to grab it at. You can grab it at the seasonofselflovepodcast.com. Dr. Will, do you have any last words that you want to share with our audience?
Yeah, heal always. Be kind to yourself.
All right. So before we leave, I want to share a creative challenge with y'all for this week. I want you to name one block that's been holding you back and decide to release it. Just one. I want you to name it, and then I want you to take a small creative step forward. Even if it's just doodling, if you're just writing something down or flapping some paper or humming them, do it. Do it. Remember, it do not have to be perfect. You just have to be present with it. Just sit. That's it.
Oh, also reading is a creative process as well, too.
Yeah.
So just sit with it. Reading is a creative process.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Dr. Will, for tapping in on that. All right, my beautiful people. That is it for Mindset Monday. I hope that this conversation has inspired you to just stop waiting for the perfect time, because it ain't no perfect time. It's not. Just start creating, whether it's good or bad in your eyes. My thing is, it's good when you do it, period. It's good when you do it because you're learning something from there. I want you to be sure to tag us on social media, hashtag Season of Self-Love. Also, hashtag Ask Dr. Will Washington, and let us know if you're breaking through your creative blocks this week. Next Monday, we back again with Mind, Body, and Connections. You don't want to miss it, all right? It's your girl, the goddess Nyomi Banks, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. And have an amazing day. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovering and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.